Hey guys, it's Harry here, and this video is we're just gonna look at the Miles Davis's solo in Oleo from the Miles Davis Quintet. I'll get a little link in the bottom in the description for you, link to Spotify, so you can listen to it for yourselves. But this mainly is just going to be going through the we're just going to analyse the whole solo. I've got a little transcription here I've done myself, but I'm gonna make a PDF of both pages and gonna put it in the description for you guys to download. So yeah, let's get going. So all of the examples, I'm going to show you how to play the solo, just piece by piece at first, and then right at the end I've already recorded a video of me playing all the way through. Yeah, I must note though, the last recording is of me playing the whole way through is at 90% speed, literally because it is just so fast, and I've had limited time to try and practice this, as this was a little task set my guitar teacher, but anyhow, it's more about the quality rather than how fast everything is, and it's all very well, it all being fast, but if you can't hear it very well, there's no point in doing it at all. So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, all these examples, I've got a little metronome here. We're going to be doing it at about half speed, just above half speed, 130 BPM. The original track sits at about 250, which is mighty fast. Obviously there's plenty of tracks faster than that, but yeah, classic bebop tempo. So yeah, let's crack on with this. So as you guys, if you download the PDF, you'll see that I've written the chords above just the first A section and the first B section as well. I haven't written it for the rest of the piece just because it repeats. It just repeats, and you know, they're the same chords, so there's no point in writing it all out. So yeah, just want to talk about the structure before we start. Like again, if you're looking at the PDF while watching this, you'll see that at top we've got A section as normal. Obviously there's no repeat because it's a transcription of his solo and has to go all the way through, and then the B section as well. So that's as normal, and as far as the rest of this solo is concerned, I'm not exactly sure about the structure, just because a lot of it it's quite hard to, you know, without transcribing the bass line as well, which I didn't have time for. It's hard to tell what chords he's actually playing through, but I could hazard a guess, and by the sounds of what, you know, what he's using to play over in that part of the solo, I can pretty much guess that from where I've written the 8 VA, where it goes up an octave, that pretty much starts the new A section, and obviously that A section is 16 bars long, but every time the rest of the band come in with him, it's a B section. I'm certain of that, just because you can hear the chord. Obviously, you can hear all the chords and of course what he's playing over as well. Yeah, so every time the band come in, it's a B section. So that outlines that. But what I think they do here is after the first B section, they play probably be a full A section, and then they do half the A section and then go to the B section and then do the other half right at the end of his solo. That's how I see it. It could be different, feel free to correct me, but that's pretty much how I interpret it. Either way, you can still get a good idea of what he's using to play over these chords. Right, yeah, now that we've got that out of the way, let's just get straight into it. Cool, so his first phrase doesn't come in until the second bar, and at a normal swing speed this might sound quite a lot of space, like he's leaving quite a lot of space, but at this speed it's like, it's barely 2 seconds. So yeah, you know, even at this speed, Miles Davis in his true fashion still leaves quite a lot of space. As you'll see in the transcriptions, there's a few bars rest here and there. You know, sometimes nearly 2 bars rest. So what Miles would normally do, really. Yeah, let's go with the first phrase, which starts at the first C minor and goes over the F7. I must point out for this, just looking at all the shapes and how I finger all of the solos, he hovers around C Dorian quite a lot, or that's how the shape on the guitar is, at least. But it's a very sort of C Dorian, yeah, it revolves around that quite a bit. But that's just, obviously, you might see it differently if you actually play trumpet. I've just transcribed it and then learnt it on guitar, so it's it can be, there's multiple different points of view you can do from it. So the first phrase just goes down what is close to what a C, the second shape of the C B flat major pentatonic. So the second shape, it's the Dorian shape of the pentatonic scale, basically. It's sort of, there's a few notes different, but yeah, let's get the metronome on. So the first one just goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, so it's this first phrase is a little bit weird, because I slowed it down when I was transcribing, and because it's so fast, his rhythm is quite vague. So I've basically just transcribed what he, if it was played at a slow tempo, what he actually would have, you know, tried to do, what he would have intended it to sound like. So yeah, that's the first bit. So it just goes down. So you can see like the pentatonic scale there. There. So it's just changed a few notes. So it's still in this Dorian shape. There. So anyway, where were we? Yeah, so we got this sort of C Dorian shape here. So it starts on the 2 and, so 1, 2. This time with the amp on. Cool. So yeah, and you'll see that in the PDF. So the 4th bar, he's just got this little. So it's just that little pull off bit there. And then the first bit of outside playing, although it's literally one note, is just this, just that E to the D. Oh no, sorry, it's the D to C. Sorry, beg your pardon. So and then we've got this cool little sort of sequencing lick here. So it goes down, it goes in thirds. So it goes down the scale in thirds. So I'll show you it slowly. So with the metronome. So that's a little cool lick, something that you can use over like a like just like a C minor chord or anything like that. Or I mean, over here he's used it. You can use basically on Oleo or any rhythm changes tune. You can pretty much use for the first half of the A section like a B flat pentatonic, major pentatonic sort of shape, and all the shapes around it. And for the rest of it, you can basically use for the rest of it, you can just use like a B flat Dorian, not Dorian, sorry, B flat Mixolydian, and obviously C Aeolian above that, and all the of the modes that are in the key of E flat major, basically. Yeah, you can use it that way. So that's pretty much what he's doing out here, keeping to what is on the guitar, this the C Dorian shape here. Cool, so the next bit, nothing happens until the 9th bar, where again, starting on the 2 end, we've just got this little and up to half speed that goes. There, so and then next bit, we've just got this so yeah, sort of like a question and answer sort of thing, which is one of the many aspects that makes a great solo, really. So that's got a little interesting bit there. Again, using that sort of using the C Dorian shape there, and then this next bit, which is quite cool. Like he uses one of the bebop scales. He uses the minor bebop scale over this Dorian shape, where it starts on the E flat and finishes on that C minor, and he's basically just going. He's basically just using sort of a Mixolydian shape on the E flat 7. So that would sorry, not the E flat 7. Yeah, he's basically just using the C Dorian shape. He's going up the minor bebop scale, basically. So. And then you've got those little. So you've got he lands on the 9th there on the C minor 7, and then goes down to the 5th for the F7, and then back to the 3rd for the B flat, and then just uses that little as like an entry into the B section, which sounds really cool when it goes up to tempo. So yeah, with the metronome, starts on beat 1. Cool, so there you have that. So that's a little lick, that's a pretty cool lick. Just going straight up the minor bebop scale, which allows him to land on that D when he gets to the C minor. You know, that's the magic of adding one extra note. You know, that's why they made the bebop scale, so you can land on the note you want on the first beat. So yeah, that's the bebop scale in action, really. Cool. So the next bit in the B section. On bar 2 of the B section, we've got this little, almost like the top, on the guitar at least, the top half of the B altered scale, or C melodic minor, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'll just show you quickly. So starting on 2 and again, just goes. And I've sort of noticed an interesting point here, because he starts on the D7. It flows really nicely into the G7, but why I think he's sort of chosen to, because he could have quite easily just gone, just carried on using the C Dorian scale, but obviously over the D7, you know, it wouldn't be in the key of D7, you know, G major, and so it just fits a lot better. What I find a bit more interesting is that because it's over a D7, obviously you can use altered scales over dominant chords, and of course altered chords, what they're used for. So if you've got your if you have your D7 here, and you could change it to you can basically a bit like diminished chords, because they share the same, well, diminished chords all set in minor thirds, they share the same seventh and third, but you can substitute dominant chords in the same way through the seventh and thirds. So it could be substituted for a B7 if you wanted to. It's quite a big substitute, but it still makes it work over this D7, especially if you turn it to a flat 9 or something like that. Yeah, that works quite nicely. Yeah, so he basically uses this B altered scale, and just, yeah, it flows really nicely. So up to half speed. Cool, so there you have it. Cool, so the next bit, second half of the B section, he's just messing around with the Dorian scale again. He's got a little enclosure here at the end, so I'll just play it through for you. So yeah, you got that little enclosure there. So it's still this C Dorian. Yeah, up at half tempo there. And then we go into this bit, which I believe is the A section. Not quite sure, but feel free to correct me. Yeah, so he goes up again, still sticking with that Dorian shape, but sort of goes into this the D Phrygian, as most guitarists would call it. But I'll just play it through. Yeah, and then he does his sort of like, does that typical Miles thing of like doing his held high notes. Sounds really nice through that harmon mute. So up to speed. Cool. So that's cool little lick there. You can steal all of this really from Miles. It's what transcribing's all about. So this next bit, if you've already listened to the track, is sort of an insane bit at this speed, because he goes through most of it so far. You know, all these quick little lines, but they only last like a bar or so. But this bit, he's basically not really playing over the changes, but he's just but sort of is. He's not like outlining completely every single chord. But it's just a really fast bit, so I'm going to go really slow for this bit because I really struggled to get this up to speed, especially with my fingering, which on the guitar, which I mean, I found quite hard on this, but yeah, to play it slowly. So it's all based still, this is what makes it slightly easier on guitar, around this C Dorian, and there are a few extra notes. There's some flattened notes in there which he chucks in, and then he finishes on this little outrageous sort of chromatic line, which I'll show you. So yeah. So yeah, that's the lick, and I mean, I'll take my hat off to anyone who can get that really nice and clean and up to speed. Really, I could only, at this point at least, I could only, if I practiced it a bit more, I probably could get it up to speed. But anyone who can get that up to speed and really clean, I'll take my hat off to them if they can do that pretty sharpish. I'd love to see any videos of you guys doing anything. But yeah, so that's the main bit. I won't go too into detail about it, but he's just, as you know, I don't know the exact chords. He could be playing over the B section again for all I know, but I just haven't had time to transcribe all the chords for it at the moment. But yeah, there's a little sort of like he's just basically messing around with the Dorian scale. I know he probably wouldn't see it as the Dorian scale. You know, most purely melodic instruments don't really see it that way, but it's more of a guitar-y and piano-y sort of thing. So moving on to what I think is the first half of the A section again. He has like another little run up to land on this D, so I'll play it with the metronome. Cool, yeah, so that's the next bit there. Again, it's all still in this in C minor, C Dorian scale. So we've got another interesting bit here. He uses some really interesting enclosure sort of stuff here. So he goes. So this is in the D section, the B section. D7 is the first chord, and again he uses just carries on using that Dorian scale. So yeah, slowly it goes. So yeah, sort of like a chromatic, because he uses all of these notes, obviously in a different order, but it's like a nice little chromatic line there, which again, like he's done on the previous B section, landed on the G7 quite nicely. So up to half speed. Cool, so that's the first bit, and then he does another little sort of, how I would finger it, goes straight into the D Phrygian again. Cool, so yeah, he's got another little sort of enclosure bit there, that bit, yeah, let's play it up to speed. So that's the whole second B section there, and then everyone cuts out again and really tests the bassist and Miles's timing. When I was transcribing this, the bassist was just a saint, because he was the only thing that was keeping a clear tempo for me. So yeah, obviously I would have been able to transcribe it with just Miles playing, but it's just a lot easier when there's something else there to keep you in time. And also, when you're transcribing at these speeds, it's also a really good idea to listen to the bass line, to try and find, make sure you're on the right place, you're starting on the right beat, because you can often find that when you are transcribing at this speed, something might sound like what you think it is, but when you slow it down to a bit more of a audible tempo, it's actually completely different. So yeah, so it's quite good to listen to the bass line, because you can always hear when he's changing chords, those chromatic approach notes, everything like that. But anyway, last what I think is the second half of the last A, he uses sort of like another sort of thirds thing here, and again this goes like, I've written this up an octave because he just goes so high in this bit, and he hits the highest note in this solo in this bit, which is that B flat. It's the B flat, an octave above the one above the stave, so quite high for most instruments, but not really. Trumpet can go a lot further if you're good enough, that is. Yeah, so it starts on the second beat of the first bar in this second half of the A section. Hope that isn't too confusing. So here it is. Cool. So that's the end. That's the first 4 bars. No, sorry, the first 6 bars of the last A, the last half of the second A, yeah, and then the last bit to finish us off on this solo. He's basically just chord shredding the C Dorian scale in this whole thing, but he does one last hurrah, and with this little lick. So I'll start from the bar before because it makes a little bit more sense. And at higher tempos, that sounds quite cool. A little fast, naughty little lick. Yeah, so that's the whole solo. I hope I played everything slow enough for you. Yeah, I'll put all the PDFs in the description below, and I'll also put a link to the song itself. So it's the Miles Davis Quintet. It's one of the first ones that comes up on Spotify. You can probably find it on YouTube. I'll put a link down there anyway. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and to finish us off is a recording of me that I made yesterday of after many takes of playing the whole solo as mistakeless as possible. It's not perfect, but I've just had limited time to practice this. But yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed, and see ya.